Alrighty, this is just a short video just to show the progress on this prototype bandgun build. Just to start with, these bands here and here, they're just holding the barrel on whilst the glue sets. They're not going to stay, and I'll probably be replacing those sections with pieces of aluminum strip, thin aluminum strip, to wrap around and keep a nice tight grip down on the barrel. It'll also add to aesthetics, but that's not sort of a big worry. As I said, this is just a prototype. It fires like a band's, so it's, not too hardcore. I don't currently have any of the elastic yet, the surgical tubing, but I'm getting some very soon. Here's the mechanism. Very simply put, the elastic band will pull on this little notch in this wheel, and what happens is, as you see, that little section here pushes down towards the actual notch on the trigger, and that notch sits up inside of it. So whilst it's pulling, the trigger sits there, and I can pull very hard against this and it will not go anywhere. And what happens is, when you pull the trigger down, that frees up the ability for the wheel to spin, and it lets the like a band fly out, traveling along the barrel. Alright, sorry for that. Yep. But there's then these two bolts here and here. There's that one right there, and there's this one right here. And what they do is, there's this section, this curved section here is wide, of course, at this end, and narrow at this end. What that is it locks up the wheel to stop it from spinning too far around and doing full 360 spins. And when it comes back the other way, the wide end here stops it from going any further back. So there's no issue of spinning metal to get your finger caught in, or any issues with that. What I've also found is this wheel here spins with a fair bit of speed if it's got too much tension on the rubber band. So what it is with this is, I've put it in such a position that the motion from the letting go of the band will let it hit there, and it'll spring back up again, so it'll be ready to be reloaded again. And it also means that once it's fired, it'll fire, knock itself back up, and then the trigger can be pushed forward without locking into anything. So there'll be no issues with getting your finger caught in any bits of wood or anything. As you can see, the trigger has no real bouncing. Trigger's big enough for 3 fingers. 2 fingers on the trigger, just because it's a bit tight, because I haven't actually shaped the very tip of it enough. It was too what's the word I'm looking for? Too simple to pull the trigger. It was too easy, so I gave it a bit of a slant so that it actually had a bit of pressure needed to be put on before the gun would actually shoot, so you couldn't accidentally fire it by dropping it or by bumping your hand into the trigger or anything like that. Just a little safety piece of bit of safety concern there. Yeah, the barrel's held on there with a mixture of iodide and a second layer of PVA glue. And then I'm of course going to use the metal stripping over the 2 sections of the barrel here to keep it tightly held against the body of the gun. I'm pretty confident that will hold. I don't want to put any nails or screws through the actual barrel, because it'll interrupt the profile of the barrel, and that's kind of where the band flies. And if we're interrupting that, it can change the trajectory of the actual band, and that could be a problem, especially for accuracy and also for safety of firing your shots a specific direction, because you don't want your shots going bloody well everywhere, because that's just not cool. I don't want to turn it upside down. The other side of the gun is it's pretty simple, pretty bland. I'm going to be making also a guard cover and a trigger guard for the trigger and for over the actual mechanism, because of course you're not going to leave this section of mechanism just wide open like that for practical uses. And of course, if you get your finger stuck in there, or a piece of dust or something, that's a bit it's a bit bad move. So yeah, we're putting a cover over that. So look for the profile of the actual trigger and all the moving parts. They're probably about half a centimeter, not half centimeter, 5 mil thick. Sorry. It's probably not even that. It's probably about 3 or 4, maybe even less. But it's a decent thickness. Especially for the elastic bands at the moment I'm using, it's quite excessive. and it gives a good solid surface for the trigger and everything to push against. Anything smaller, I think, than this, and it would be a bit of an issue, purely for the fact that there's a tiny little bit of leeway here. If you look, if I really push hard against it, I can lift it up a little bit, and there's a tiny little chance of it sliding under there. But other than that, I think any thinner than this metal for the trigger and rest of the mechanism, you'd be pushing it for safety issues. I probably should load the gun and show you firing it. I'll just stop the camera and get it better position. Alrighty, I'm back. Yep, cool. I'm going to load it. This is the size rubber band that I'm using at the moment. It's a very big one. It's all I've got my hands on. So I just wrap it around once, and I get to it to a pretty small size. This is probably the size band I'm going to use when I'm doing with the actual surgical tubing. That little notch right here on the top of the barrel. On the barrel, actually, I'm not sure if you can see it, but I've smoothed all the outside of it down so there's no real sharp edges on it. And the inside here, over where the band actually sits, is sanded in, so it's very smooth and it won't damage the band. So yeah, you just put the notch in the middle. That's sort of simulating what will happen when you've got the I'll turn over the gun so you can see the mechanism activating. But that'll sort of simulate when I've got the actual bands in. So I pull back, pushes the nut up by doing that, and then you'll lock this trigger up into this position. Let go of everything, and it's no problems. Everything's locked in. I only did that with one hand on the actual band, which is, bonus. But yeah, from here it's safely locked into position. And I'm pretty confident with dropping it, and it won't go off. Yeah, giving it a big bang from all directions, it's not an issue. I'll kind of grab the band a bit there, I'll do it like this. And that's of course hitting straight onto the to the trigger side. Even hitting it upside down, so that's the floor. No issues, it's still going, nothing's come undone, there's no issues with the trigger in there. Everything's still dandy. Otherwise, trigger you can flake it around a bit. That's just because of the flexibility. I haven't been able to notch out of the nail. But as you can quite easily see, the band's pulling against up the top here, up on the top notch. Which in future, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna. I think I cut the wheel wrong when I did it with my Dremel. I think I've cut the angle in the wrong end. So see how this bit's really thick and fat? That was actually supposed to be here. And that was my mistake. It was supposed to have a small thin notch for this end and a big fat notch for this end, and I kind of just got around the wrong way by accident on my drawings. So yeah, for this version it's only got, as you can see, it's got a very big profile tail and not a very big profile front. But yeah, that's something I'll fix. Maybe I'll actually make a new wheel. We'll see how time goes before Tuesday. But yeah, everything loaded up. As you can see, there's no issues up here on the gun. The bolt, the little knot thing seems to have rolled around a little bit, but that's probably because I've been throwing it at the floor. That's no good. Of course, you wouldn't be doing that practically with the gun loaded. That's kind of just if it got knocked into your hand, it's not going to just refire off into the distance. It's just a load it when you're going to fire it kind of thing. Yep, again, a top view. And yeah, I'll give it a couple of fires. Yeah, this will happen pretty quick. The spinning of the bolt and everything. So if my camera's not fast enough to pick it up, it does happen, and it will look like it's instantly reset, but it's not. So yeah, I'll pull the trigger, and you'll hear a good whack from hitting the wall, I'm pretty sure. But yeah. Look at that, see, straight away it's reset itself. The bolt's sitting down, everything's free flying now. Bolt came out, it's on the floor there. But yeah, I'll do a couple more fires, and to see if any of these videos, any of the shots will actually pick up the spinning wheel. And for the sake of looking down the barrel from your end, the wheel looks almost like a crosshair, but it's a bit off, and the gun is pretty accurate, so that helps a bit. I can probably take a shot from behind the barrel just to show it later. Oh, and I probably should do a video on distance as well. But yeah, this is the latest version of the prototype build. Have a good one.